evening and welcome to Arab TV. I am Vic Zikoor, your host for this evening. Thank you for watching us and I hope you're having a great evening. This evening, our program is going to feature two of our community members who are involved in some major work in the Silicon Valley. Um, they are part of our community in terms of being Arab Americans and being another minority, and I'll introduce both of them in a second. But before we do that, I'd like to congratulate the Muslims in our community here who just had their Eid al-Fitr about a week ago. We never had the chance to do that, so happy Eid to everybody, and I hope every year you'll have a peaceful and happy Eid. With me first is Hassan Besma. He's a transportation engineering manager at VTA, and also Mr. Rajinder Singh, who is a senior architect at VTA. Welcome to the program, and thank you for coming.
Thank you.
Welcome again to the program.
Thank you.
Rajinder, can we call you Raj?
That's fine. Yeah.
Raj has been in our show several times before, so people who've been watching Arab TV might remember him a few years ago. He did a couple of shows about the Sikh community, I think, and it was very interesting. So, and he'll talk more about it in a second, but let's start with Hassan. Hassan, give me a brief background about yourself, please.
Well, I was born in Sierra Leone, which is in West Africa, and I came here in 1985. My mom actually is Lebanese, came from Lebanon, and my dad was born in Sierra Leone, but his dad immigrated from Lebanon also.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. Like I said, I came here in 1985 to further my education, and I went to Chico State, where I got my BS in civil engineering. Then in 93, I went to San Jose State and to get my master's in transportation engineering. And during that time, I also got my professional engineering license as a civil engineer.
Right after college, that's amazing.
Yeah,
Good job.
Thank you.
Yes.
So since then, since I graduated, I started working in the private sector, civil engineering, and I worked for a couple of private companies. But then in 1998, I thought it was enough of private, and I wanted to go into the government agencies. So in 1998, I went to VTA and started working as an assistant engineer. From then on, I've climbed up the ladder, and I am now a transportation engineering manager. And I'm working on several projects, the main focus is the BART extension to Silicon Valley.
We will have time to talk about the project.
Right.
Yes.
And I also worked on a couple of light rail extension projects. So that's basically,
background.
Yeah, that's my background.
And Rajinder, yours?
Yes, for me, I grew up in India initially, and I went to the School of Planning and Architecture to do my bachelor's in architecture in New Delhi. And from there, I went to Singapore. I worked there for a couple of years, joined my family there, and still unsatisfied, I decided to venture out into the Western world, and I went to University of Michigan to do my graduate studies in architecture as well. After that, I moved to Atlanta, where I lived for about 20 years, worked in the private sector, and decided I want to be closer to my family that was in California. And so in 2000, I moved to California and joined VTA.
Fantastic.
And I'm currently working with Hassan as a senior architect on the Silicon Valley various extension project.
Fantastic. So before we go into a lot of projects and exciting work, Hassan, could you give us a little brief description of what is VTA and what are they involved with, and so the public could understand what they are?
Sure. VTA, which means Valley Transportation Authority, is it's a government agency which provides transportation services for the residents of Santa Clara County. It involves light rail, buses, and in the future it involves BART. And also what they do is they also involve in collaboration with Caltrans, they do highway projects also, especially major interchanges. So those are the things that they do. Most of the time, there's one thing I always say. Whenever people ask me, who do you work for? I say VTA. They always ask me if I'm a bus driver. So I tell them, no, I'm an engineer, because I think when people think, most people in this area think when you say VTA, it's driving the buses or light rail, but mostly driving the buses. But that's not what VTA does. VTA has a lot of people. They have engineers, they have architects, they have IT folks, they have accountants. So there's a lot of stuff that we do. We do a lot of projects that is ongoing. We do bus rapid transits, we do light rail. Like I said, we mentioned again, we do highways. So there's a lot of things that VTA does in this community.
Okay, and okay, we do a lot of things in this community. What are the benefits of VTAs to the Silicon Valley?
Well, I think providing transportation for those who don't have a means of going from point A to point B is one of the biggest things. And the other thing too is it improves, obviously, the environment, because it helps to take cars off the road. I, for one, uses the light rail and the bus, so I don't drive. And it also, I think it improves on the traffic, and there's economic benefits also to the area, because it provides jobs for people during construction and after construction.
Okay, and so the benefits, like less people driving, more green, right?
Yes.
So that's one of the benefits. So
Correct.
trying to get people off using their
the
cars.
road, right?
What else? Maybe faster traffic, for the highways, with the exchanges.
Well, yeah, it's helping to get people off the road, so there's better traffic, it improves the traffic. And like I mentioned again, there's economic benefits to it too.
Yeah. But right now, VTA is going through a couple of major projects, not only in the Silicon Valley, but I think in the Bay Area or in California. And that has to do with the two-segment expansion of BART to San Jose or to the Silicon Valley. Mm-hmm. So what was the first segment? What is the second segment?
Well, right now the BART project is a 16-mile project, but it's divided into two phases. The first phase is called the Berryessa extension phase. Is about a 10-mile extension. And the second phase takes it all the way through downtown San Jose to Santa Clara. And that's about another 6-mile project. So that's the original phase. Right now, what is being constructed is the first phase. It goes up to Berryessa, and it has only 2 stations. The whole total, when it's all said and done, will have about 6 stations. So for now, the initial phase, the first phase, there is a Milpitas station and the Berryessa station, which Raj will be talking about later on.
So those 2 stations, so let me understand something. BART right now goes all the way to Fremont?
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Now there is an ongoing project for the Warm Springs?
Yes.
Is that part of this or?
No, that is a BART project.
Okay.
They are extending it to Warm Spring, okay, where we will be connecting to.
So when would that segment finish, the Warm Spring segment?
Warm Spring, I do not want to speak for them, but
approximately
probably 2015, 2016,
okay,
I believe.
Okay. So meanwhile, we're going ahead with building the segment from Warm Spring to Milpitas. Is that correct?
To Berryessa.
To Berryessa.
Correct.
Berryessa,
yeah, Milpitas and Berryessa.
Yeah. Okay. So that's not going to wait for the for the BART project to finish. To Warm Spring, you're going ahead and
Warm Spring.
It's a parallel project.
Yeah, it's a parallel project, but right now the way it's going, Warm Spring will probably they'll finish before us.
Okay. Okay, of course, yeah.
Yes.
I started before you too.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Okay. So that's explain a little bit more about the first segment. It goes to Berryessa. Mm-hmm. Now and that's above ground or underground. What kind of BART is that?
Well, the Milpitas station, actually, it's going to be, you're going to have the track go through trench, and there's also some parts where it goes above ground.
Okay.
And goes aerial. In Berryessa, it's going to be an aerial, and in Milpitas, it'll be a trench.
Okay.
But the station, actually, The platform will be below ground, but the concourse will be above ground.
So we'll take us to the second segment then, going through San Jose. Is that going to be on ground, above ground, underground?
It will be both. It will be below ground when it gets through downtown.
Okay.
It's going to run. For now, the line shows it running underground in Santa Clara Street.
Okay.
And then it's going to come up after Diridon Station, and then it will come above ground to Santa Clara.
Okay. Now, Diridon Station is supposed to be is a multimodal, all kinds of different light rail, heavy rail, different agencies go through that, right? What else is coming through Diridon? Any high-speed rail or?
Well, there's plans for high-speed rail to come
there.
through there.
Okay.
There's the light rail there. There's, like you said, buses. There's Caltrain. So yes, it'll be a
So it's a
very
major
big
station.
multi-modal station.
Okay. So from there, it will end in Santa Clara.
Yes.
Okay. How about connecting it to the airport?
There is talk right now, preliminary design for a people mover.
Okay.
So just like the one that's being done right now from Oakland Airport to BART.
Okay. So we're talking about BART, and we're spending a lot of money bringing BART to the area here. What are the benefits of bringing BART to the area?
Well, it's the same thing as any transportation project. It's going to provide connectivity. Right now, you can only take BART from Fremont to go to San Francisco or Oakland. But with BART now coming to Santa Clara County, you don't have to drive to Fremont. You can just jump on it at Berryessa and take it all the way. So there's that connectivity. And just like any other transportation project, again, it's going to take traffic off the roadway, and it's going to improve on the economy, and it's also going to improve on the environment.
Yeah, I think basically we're trying to get the cars off the road. That's one. Number two is that we're trying to make the cities more green. By taking the pollution outside, we're having less cars on the road. And like Hassan said, it has a little bit more economic benefits as well, because we're too dependent on oil and gas. So this will definitely help reduce that effect, plus create more jobs. And we'll talk a little bit about how the BART project also is going to create jobs in the Silicon Valley.
So the BART will create jobs, of course. I'm looking forward for that because I'm right now one of the victims of not having BART in San Jose. I work in Oakland, and every day, I drive from San Jose to Oakland and drive back.
So we want to take your car off the roadway.
I want to give you my car. Take bus and then BART, and I'm free.
I think the preliminary estimates we have is that we're going to be reducing 23,000 car trips on the road. So that's going to be a lot less pollution for us. Also, in terms of jobs, we're looking at about 2,500 jobs from the get-go on this project, starting now actually, which is building up.
Yeah. Now, we briefly talked about the segment within San Jose. There are several stations. What are they? You said Diridon, Santa Clara, what other stations?
The second phase would have 4 stations.
Okay.
It'll get the Diridon station. Well, let's start from after Berryessa station. You'll have the Alum Rock station.
Okay.
And then you will have the downtown
San
Jose station. And then you will have the Diridon station. And then you will have the Santa Clara station.
And these are all underground, above ground?
No.
Santa Clara is above ground.
Yes, Santa Clara is above ground.
It daylights right next to the airport.
Okay.
And that's where you'll have the airport people mover connection,
Yes.
which will be elevated, but will go underground underneath the runway of the airport, connecting the two.
Fantastic. So BART is owned by BART, right? What is your role? I mean, if BART, are you designing it for BART?
Well, this is different. This is not owned by BART, this extension. Extension is owned by VTA. The Santa Clara,
the actual rail and the,
everything is going to be owned by, starting from anything that's in the Santa Clara County is going to be owned by VTA. Because there was a measure that passed where Santa Clara residents are paying for this. So we're going to own it, but BART's going to operate and maintain it.
Yeah, when I said owned by BART, I meant the trains are owned by BART.
Well, no, even trains,
the trains are
even
buying
some
them.
of the trains will VTA will be buying, purchasing, so it will be owned with.
So it will just have the name BART, but VTA will be
They'll be running it. BART will,
designing it, building
they
it,
know,
managing it.
they know how. They know how to run it. They know how to operate it and maintain it, so they'll be doing that. They've done a good
Of
job.
course, yeah.
I think it's more of a partnership.
Yeah, it's a partner,
Okay.
right?
Which is based on the original BART master plan, which is to take BART all the way around the peninsula, starting from the airport, San Francisco airport, all the way back to the airport.
Right,
So
right.
we are adding a segment of that.
So you're telling me in the future San Jose will go through the peninsula to the airport?
Yes, it'll connect back to the
Wow.
San Francisco airport
Well,
eventually.
well,
That has always been the plan from.
From the beginning.
Yeah, from the beginning.
Exactly.
Right.
We just
So-
were getting on late.
So it would be like, if you want to go to San Francisco airport, go to Diridon station, take BART, and take you there in half an hour or something.
I don't know about that half an hour, but yes, it'll connect you. We don't know about. We can talk more about the time.
No,
later,
by the time when this comes, probably trains will go faster.
Hopefully.
Yeah. So I think, we've given Hassan Besma a lot of time to talk all about this stuff, but you've been kind of like a little bit. Being the architect, I would like, if possible, to give us, to walk us through the two stations and tell us how they look like, what are they, and, whatever you want to tell us about them.
Yeah, see, like Hassan said, Warm Springs is currently under construction under a separate contract. We're going to be adding two stations, the Milpitas station and the Berryessa station. Now in the Milpitas station, if you can show the first slide for the Milpitas station. Milpitas station is located right next to Capitol Light Rail Station. Can we move to slide number 2, please? Milpitas station, yes, thank you. So this is located next to the Capitol VTA Light Rail Station and the intersection of Montague and Capitol Avenue. There are a few components to the station, which we call the entire campus. And as you can see on the slide, we have a large parking structure which is supposed to accommodate about approximately 800 parking spaces. It also has not an underground, but a station in a trench with a roof cover on it, and it also has a bus transit. The good thing about Milpitas station is that it connects the VTA light rail station at Capitol Avenue to the new BART station. A couple of things to note here is that we're trying to build an environmentally friendly building. Although we don't comply with all the LEED requirements, we are going to implement the Cal Green codes, which are the California Building Codes elements. In terms of sustainability, there are the main elements include the reduced energy usage, the reduced heat island effect, the LED intelligent lighting, electricity generation using photovoltaic panels, and locally reclaimed refurbished materials. In the next slide that you're looking at, it's a view from Montague, which shows you the large parking structure in the back. Next slide, please. Yeah, this is another view, again, from the North Milpitas Boulevard, looking at the parking structure and the Milpitas station. Next slide. Yeah, this is a good view of the station roof, which is more of a curved roof, which is going to be completely covered with photovoltaic panels to generate electricity for the station. Next slide, please. Yeah, another view showing you the elements of the parking structure. The parking structure is going to be finished. Although the design has slightly changed now, but this is what we had at the conceptual level. Next. All right, with this, if you have any questions on Milpitas, I can answer.
Yeah, you said it's unique in a way that it's partially underground, partially above ground in a trench.
So what you do is you enter at the concourse level, which is where the fare gates are, and you go down one level, which is what we call the trench cut area where the tracks are.
And what dictates the choice of having this type of arrangement? Why couldn't it all be above ground or all underground?
Well, I think it's a communication that we have with the different cities that we're working with, and it also depends on the noise ordinances, the environmental studies that actually determine, whether the city prefers the station to be underground. And as you know, underground station is always going to be a little bit more expensive than above ground station.
Okay, in your design, did VTA consider the people's requirement or the surrounding nature of the city?
Yes, we did. In fact, the transportation hub is arranged such that it benefits the local community around the station and also the city. So you not only have people driving over to the station, you can also bike to the station, you can walk to the station. And plus, the connectivity between light rail and BART gives you an added advantage. So if you're coming over from Winchester Station on VTA light rail system, you get off at Capitol, change onto BART, and you can head on to Oakland or San Francisco.
Okay. So now the station is done. Are there any plans for transit-oriented development around the station area?
Yeah, that's in the master plan.
Yes.
Excuse me. And basically we are hoping that developers are going to take advantage of the high density development proposals around in that area and go with it.
Okay, so let's go to the Berryessa now.
Yeah, let's go back a slide one to the main site plan for the Berryessa station.
No,
Next slide. Berryessa station, view one.
that's Milpitas.
There you go, thank you. So, unlike the Milpitas station, the Berryessa station is connecting two streets. Basically, it's the Mayberry Street and the Berryessa, Mayberry Road and the Berryessa Road. The station component is the central on the long side. You have the parking structure, which is supposed to accommodate roughly 1,200 parking spaces. It also has a bus transit system, additional surface parking, and a police zone facility, which will be operated by BART.
Okay.
Next slide, please. Yeah, so this is a view as you're approaching from Mayberry Road to the station. And the way we design our stations are we want to create landmarks where people gather and have some views that are cohesive with the environment. In this case, we have the view of the mountains in the background. We had orchards, we don't have them anymore, but that's what we're trying to depict with the roof, which is a wavy roof on top of the station itself.
Fantastic.
Next slide, please. This is a little bit of a close-up to the metal roof that we have on the station platform area. As you can see, you enter at the ground level into the concourse area, and you take the escalators and the elevators up to the next level, which is the platform level.
That's nice, yeah, I can see the train.
Next slide, please. This is the view which is still under development, facing the existing flea market at Berryessa. We're hoping that there's going to be a lot of high-density development on this side of the station, which will connect to the station immediately next to it. Next. Just another night view so that you can see what the station might look at night. Pretty nice.
Okay. So this is the same night view.
This is the last view we have,
Yeah.
yes.
Oh, so that's it, and no more slides?
No more slides, yeah,
So,
that's
okay,
it.
so that's nice. You mentioned something about the flea market. So do you think the flea market is going to disappear after the station comes into the?
You know, we are on one side of the flea market, so
Yes.
there is a possibility that market might exist for some time. But with the station BART coming in, the value of the property there is soaring, so we anticipate high density development, multi-use.
So would you be aware if there's any plans for the high density transit-oriented development around the Berryessa station?
Yes, there is.
There
There is the flea market that they've been talking about. We've been meeting with them, and we've been discussing that. In fact, we do show one of the entrances is actually dedicated for the flea market, for the
Oh,
development
one of the
that's
entrances to the BART station, you mean?
Yes, one of the entrances to the BART station is actually dedicated for future development for the flea market.
Okay. And this is an important question, but I don't expect you to have answers. Uh, will BART be profitable, when it starts, with the projections of
Yeah, you know, BART is a fairly self-sustaining entity. The revenue collection on BART is rather high. You're looking at 70% of their operational cost is coming from the fare box. So in the United States, I think that is fairly profitable to start
Okay.
with.
And in general, VTA's operations, with the rail and the buses, how is that? Is it profitable, or are you subsidized?
You know,
or?
VTA serves the county area, and we have to keep in mind that service here is critical. Sometimes the payback may not be as much, and I think that's why we have transportation that is served for the people, in a community which may not necessarily require it, but there are individuals who will need it.
Okay. So we have maybe a few seconds left. One last question, maybe, is how many people work for VTA overall? Do you have
I
the
believe
numbers?
the last I remember, it's about just over 2,000 people.
No, I think it's 1,900.
Not yet.
Oh, 2,000,
2019.
yeah,
2,000,
yeah.
right.
Yeah, engineers, we round it up.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly.
Architect, they're very accurate.
Yeah, that's a good point.
Yeah.
Yeah, but,
1900. Among them, there is about, 1,000 architects and engineers?
No.
No, there's a lot of bus drivers.
There's majority bus drivers.
Yes.
We're the engineers, architects, support staff,
Yeah.
transportation engineers, environmental staff. I think we're looking at 300 to 400 people.
I think we're out of time now, so I just want to say, Hassan, thank you so much for your
You're
time.
welcome. Thank
It
you
was
for
very,
having
very
me here.
interesting. And Raj, as always, your
Always,
programs
thank
are very interesting, and we'd love to have you again, maybe on something different in the near future. So that was really that was a very interesting show, and I hope that everybody really enjoyed watching us, learned from it. If you have any questions, feel free to give us a call. My phone number is 408-239-9681. They might have the old numbers on the screen, but that's my cell phone. You could always call me if you cannot reach Hassan or Raj, and we hope that we hear from you. And if you have any negative or positive comments, we'd like also to know about it for our future performance. I appreciate you watching, and I hope to see you soon in the next program. So thanks again,
Thank you.
and I think we had a nice program. Thank you for it.
Thank you.
Appreciate it.